Good morning, everyone. Christmas is fastly approaching. I'm currently roasting a turkey so that I can can the meat and then after that make bone broth because I am getting quite low on my chicken broth. So I'm using the resources that I have. I'd mentioned that we're doing the pantry challenge and I found that I have 6 pints of chicken broth left. So I'm going to be making some more of that broth. I've had the opportunity here lately to, in between the work that I have to do, to read some of your responses and your comments. And as much as I greatly appreciate you interacting, I do need to clarify a few things. Number one, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know all the answers because truthfully, I don't. I really don't. I'm like you, like many of you. I'm starting this journey and I'm learning this journey. A lot of you have offered great advice, and I appreciate that. But I also need to say this. Diabetes is not an easy subject. And it is just that. It is a name at this point that many of us have within our homes, in our lives. And that name is a common for all of us. What isn't a common is our bodies. Everybody does this differently. There are many who go on with their life just basically eating whatever they want and they manage it with their medication. I get that. If that's for you, that's great. If you can manage it, that's awesome. Others of us, we learn down the trails of low carb, others down the trail of keto. There is so many different ways of conquering this resident, I call it. And with that, it's not an easy task. For many, they can give up sugar, and that's fantastic as well. Please understand that we're not all the same. What I have learned in this is if I were to do what some of you have mentioned, just cut out sugar altogether, cut out breads altogether, there's been a lot of cutouts already in our life. And again, I am not a diabetic, but I am the one who cooks the meals. I am the one who watches over my husband and I care for him to the best of my ability. As frankly, he doesn't know what to do either, just like many of us don't. But I try to simplify it. And the one thing that I learned when I started doing a lot of cutting out, there's another factor you have to put into place. There could be caused a major depression, and that's the last thing I want to cause. My husband, like I told you in one of my videos before, I had taken so much advice. Folks, look, on YouTube, on Google, in libraries, in every area you go, there is so much information. It is overwhelming, completely overwhelming. And so I started taking bits and pieces here and there. And my husband literally begged me to stop. He got to the point that he didn't even want to eat anymore. And I get that. And I felt bad for doing this to him. So I went on the verge of, look, I'm a homesteader. I do a lot of things with fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. And in a sense of it, it's like a Mediterranean life, which is a beautiful living. And I'm having to learn how to incorporate decreasing the carbs as much as I can. Many of the comments came in yesterday about me making the coffee creamer that I make. Understandable that, you know, in two products, there's two different categories in nutrition facts. There's carbs, there's ingredients, and sometimes in life we have to choose the less of two evils. Let's face the facts. There is nothing that we buy from the store that's preservative free. We cannot absolutely live this life without preservatives. It would be actually really hard. From the flours you use, and that is even including in the low carb, even in the keto, there is preservatives in everything that we use today. Unless you've got the acreage to grow your own, mill your own, it's hard to do. I'm not that big of a homesteader. So I do what I can do, and that's basically about it. I will not pretend whatsoever that I am a professional. I am no nutritionist. I am a doctor whatsoever. I don't have all the answers. I'm just going based by the experience of what's helping us. I do know that in the last 6 months we have been reversing this, and I praise God for that. My husband started out with his blood sugars in the 3s and 400s, 9.7. And in 6 months, he dropped it to 5.4, reducing his medication by once a day. We are in hopes that in March that he can go completely off of his medication and just be able to live his life in the way that we're working now through the food we make. I am still learning how to bake because he loves his baked goods. And if I deprive him of everything, I don't want to deal with the depression. It is not fair to do that to him or anybody else. And I just try to live this life the best that I can to make life easier for him, to enjoy the things he likes, but what's safer for him. And I actually plead with you to, I'm hoping you're understanding what I'm saying. I'm not trying to make these videos to hurt anyone or insult anyone. By far, yeah, you mean a lot to me, and this family is huge. Not everybody gets to see what I see, and I feel you. I do. My heart breaks for you. This world is huge, and like a cancer, diabetic is pretty huge in this world as it is today. And a lot of it came by the foods that we have purchased and we eat. And now we're in the choices of what do we do now? How do we manage this, and how do we deal with this? For some, I mean, honestly, let's think about it. For type 1, they're even harder, and my heart breaks for them. Yet they find a way to manage it and maybe even possibly decrease the amount of insulin they have to take. My goal is to keep my husband from going that far. He is a type 2. You're going to find on this homestead, it's going to work in 2 forms. One for me, one for him. Again, I lost weight because I chose to. It was healthier for me. I needed to do that anyways. But I'm also in the position that this is a very costly resident. So I have to figure out how to be able to keep what my husband needs and to be able to do what I can do for me and to be able to keep my weight in control. So you're going to find that there are videos that I may do using my sourdough because I am today choosing, how do I explain this, healthier ways of eating so that I do not gain my weight back. And so I may fluctuate. We all fluctuate. So I may, if I can keep within my ranges that I'm comfortable with, I will choose to do so. I no longer eat huge amounts of plates. I've learned what moderation is, and that's amazing even for me. So you may find me making a video one day just on making a sourdough bread. I may take that bread, I will slice it, freeze it, and use it for my breakfast in the morning, even if it's just a half a slice. You're going to find that I'm going to accommodate some of the things like my coffee creamer because I'm the only one who drinks coffee. And I choose the less of the 2 evils. So it's just, I'm a homestead who runs in a variety of ways. I share with the diabetic world, and I share with the world that doesn't even have this in their life. So I'm going to be doing that in all of my videos so that it accommodates everybody. Because that's what is in my homestead. It accommodates me, who is a non-diabetic, and my husband. And for a lot of things that I do eat what he eats. So I'm just going to turn around and say that I love you all. I seriously do. And I try to relate to you as much as I possibly can because I feel your pain. I feel your joys, and I'm seeing so many who are thanking me, and there really, honestly, there's no need for thanks, folks. Somebody needed to say, hey, I understand. You know, in the homesteading world, there's not a lot of this being said, and I totally get that. I stepped out of my comfort zone in just basically experience living, not in a professional way. So this was hard for me, and I kind of knew what would come my way. I have watched the videos of Dr. Ken Berry. I have watched the videos with Beat Diabetes, with Dennis, and they all have absolutely helped me in a guideline of where to turn and what to do. But is it perfect? No. Because another thing that I've learned, we had my husband's diabetes blood sugars under control to the fact he was going to normal ranges of meat, and that was absolutely amazing. But when he had his accident, everything turned. Know that you can stay on this level, you can do a fantastic job, but if something happens to your body, if you get sick, if you end up with injuries, things are going to change. You cannot stop that. And I'm at the process now. As he is healing, I'm watching his levels come back down. Sometimes I just basically had to go right back to the basics in the beginning. And that was hard for him, but he did it. And I accommodate my husband. I'm proud of him, because this is a man who came from a life of being able to eat and do whatever he wanted to a point now he lives with limitations. That's hard for any of us. When we use the word diet, which I really despise using that word, because diet to me means failure. It's a life change, and that's all it is. Changing the way we think about our food, the way we have done before and what we're doing now. It's a life change, not a diet. And same thing with my husband. He's having to go through a life change. And it had gotten frustrating to him, knowing that he was at the levels he was happy with, he was comfortable with, and when he had his major accident, everything changed, and that happens. I would comfort him because I understood how he was feeling. I would see the look in his eyes, and I knew that in time that this would work, but I also knew that we had to go back to the basics to be able to get him to heal, and we're now starting to finally see the ranges where he was prior before. Sometimes you just got to be a coach. Sometimes you just got to love that person who is dealing with this and let them know that it's going to be okay, that I'm here for you. We do the best that we can do, but it's never a permanent thing. Anything can happen, anything can change. As we age, our bodies change. So it's something that is going to be a struggle, but not something that we can't deal with. I praise God for everything that I have been learning. I thank Him for the understanding that I can reach out with you. I thank Him for the strength that I can get on here and even speak to you, because this is not easy for me. I have, like I've spoke before, many of my own flaws that makes me vulnerable when I come on YouTube. But I also know that I have something that I can share with each and every one of you. And a lot of this has to do with compassion. I love being a homesteader because homesteading brings me into the natural ways of living, but it does not exclude me from buying stuff from the store either. And I have to work with those products just as well as each and every one of you, because frankly, I'm not big enough as a homesteader to produce everything that I would need to cut and eliminate it completely. So again, it comes in choosing the less of the greater evils. And I do that to the best of my ability. Christmas is coming and I will be baking. So, and I can't deprive this man of what he loves, honestly, but I can try to find ways, work with his blood sugar, see what works, trials and errors. Diabetes is a trial and error for each and every one of us. We find out what that name is called triggers, because everybody has a different trigger. The common name, diabetes, is something we all share, but the bodies, we don't. So you have to find those triggers for yourself. I can't tell you what your trigger is going to be, because what my husband can eat might not be what you can eat. So please understand, find your own triggers. And it is frustrating. I totally get it. It was frustrating for him. We're getting to a point where we could basically find what has triggered him and know how to moderate or know how to eliminate. So it's getting slightly easier. But now that we're venturing into what else we can do for ourselves without having to buy it from the store, such as his bread sources, I am learning about products I have never known before, about oat fibers or almond flours. These are all foreign to me. So I'm having to learn from regular flour, yeast, sugar, into a new world of oat fiber, whey protein, egg protein, almond flours, lupin, that's a nasty one. That's a bitter flour, lupin flour. Wow. So I am learning about all these products. And then there comes the fact of in our zones, our humidity levels, and the amount of waters it takes. It's been frustrating even for me trying to figure out how to do this. But I'm learning. And I'm willing to learn. And what I learn, that's all I do, is I get on here and share with you. Will it work for you? I cannot tell you that. You have to find your own triggers. All I can do is I can share. And honestly, that's what everybody in the YouTube world does, or online, or we all share what we have learned, but it's not a definite answer for every one of us, because we are different. We are different in our chemistries and our bodies and the things that we eat and the things that we do. We're different, and that's the way we're supposed to be. We find what works best for us and we make the best of it. So I won't stand here again. I won't tell you that I know all the answers, but I will share with you what I've learned. I do know that so far the flours mix that I've been getting from Victoria's Keto Kitchen, actually I'm finding I'm liking that blend. You can find these products online, because basically you're not gonna really find them in the stores. So I've been getting what I can of these so that I can bake my husband a cookie, and I baked him a chocolate chip cookie for him using Lily's chocolates. Sometimes I'll use Lindt's 100% cacao, absolutely no sugar, it's dark chocolate. And to be able to accommodate him to have that cookie and that smile on his face, you all don't know how much that touches my heart, because he's one of those diabetics who can't just give up sugar, y'all. And there are many, and I get it. I get it. You're coming from a different life from what you've always known. And I get the fact that some of you can do that, and you are strong enough, and that's amazing. Some of us just try to make life as normal as we possibly can in a world that tastes different. It honestly tastes different. I didn't know at the time. I came from a world of sugar. I didn't know at the time when I started venturing into different types of substitutes, the aftertaste, the taste that we're not used to. And that takes adjustment. So, and I know for many of you, it's taking adjustments. And then there's so many products out there. You've got stevia, which I have tested these. I've tested in the trigger modes of what works for my husband, what don't. Some of those didn't even work for him. Some do. Even monk fruit. Now, even I like monk fruit. I'll use sucralose. But that aftertaste takes some really good adjusting. The texture in some of the cookies or the breads that I've made, or the breadings, it takes time to adjust to that, because it's not something that we once knew. It is totally different. For those who are gluten-free, I feel for you, because these are not something we were used to. But now we're having to adjust, and that takes time. I am now, let's see, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, 7 months. 7 months into our adjusting, and we're still not adjusted completely. We're working on it. We're learning to adapt, and for the most part, we're learning to accept. And so be patient with everyone. I know some of you have done this way many more years than we have, or many others. I accommodate you. I thank you for the advice that you have given us. It gives me something to look into. But please understand that it's hard for many, and have sympathy, because we all don't do everything the same. I am so, at this point, when I go to the grocery store and I'm buying my produce on things that I don't have for the summer, I honestly cannot wait for spring to start and start my garden again, because the cost of everything is gone so high. It's hard anymore, and we've got to seriously take a budget. And that in itself, I have a lot of viewers who are retired or on Social Security. Folks, this is hard even for them, so they can do what they can do, and I get it. I seriously get it. I can my own food so that I know that I can have that fresh in my home and in my meals. And for the most part, I do live, and that's a form of a Mediterranean lifestyle. I incorporate as much of that fresh into my meals or my baked goods or anything that I can do for myself. But I can't do it all. So I look at cost-wise. I try to do things in a simple manner that everybody, even us, can try to afford to the best of our ability. We can't just totally live without. We need nutrients, vitamins, and unfortunately, some of this comes with bad things in the labels and in our ingredients. And can somebody tell me how to completely avoid that? Because I can't. As much as I try, I can't, and neither can any one of us. So be patient with me if you can, and I get it, and I'm not going to say that this is for everybody. I totally get that as well. I love you for supporting me. I love you for taking this journey with me and learning with me. Y'all, you have raised us up to, we're a little over 1,200 subscribers. You know, it's not me that's doing this, it's you. And so I just want you to know that there is so much advice out there, and I thank you, and I understand that maybe my channel isn't for everybody. Some will come in and some will go, and I get that, and I don't blame anybody. I don't have any part of my body where I get insulted by anybody, because honestly, I'm like you. I'm trying to make it in this world and make it to the best of my ability. I am forever grateful. We are reversing this, but this is not an overnight thing. It did not take overnight to get here, and it's not going to take overnight to reverse it. And I can even pray that we can reverse it. Not everybody is able to do that, and I've seen that too. And in the instance, there's a big majority who can, but there are also another majority who can't. So I ask that you understand each and every one of us to the best of your ability, like I try to do. Sometimes the biggest thing I can do is give you a hug and just let you know that I'm here for you. I hear you. I sympathize with you. I love hearing your journeys. I love hearing your stories. I love hearing that many of you are starting your own seeds. You're planting like me into your gardens. I am absolutely loving the homesteaders who are coming in on this channel. God bless you. This is a learning process for each and every one of us. Every homesteader is differently, but I am one who stepped in another direction you don't see much of, and that was scary. That was really scary, because in this world that I'm learning, with all the information out there, there can be a lot of harsh comments that come in too. So know that I go by humbleness, sympathy, and compassion. So basically, I want to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. I am hoping that even just a little fraction of my channel helps you in any form of way to be able to try to live as much of a normal life as you possibly can. Know that I love you dearly. I thank each and every one of you. If you continually like these channels, if you find that it may be helpful for somebody, please hit that subscription button, the like button, and share it with somebody else. I mean, if anything, we just learn together where we can have a place to call family in a world that kind of separates us. Not that it should, but it does. We become separated in the world of what I call a normal life, making our own normals. So to me, you all are family. So, and I will always refer to you as a family. So with that, I am going to finish my chores. We've got some bitter cold that I have yet to see since we moved here for almost 5 years ago. I have not seen it get as cold as it's fixing to get us, and I need to winterize my chickens' coops. I'm preparing for canning coming up and getting ready to buckle down, keep our wood in our wood heater, stay warm, and try to enjoy Christmas to the best of our ability. So with that, I will say with you, please stay warm. Many of us are going to get some record-breaking cold. Many are going to get some snow that they've probably never seen before. Many of you are probably used to this by now. Enjoy your Christmas. Enjoy your family. Embrace each other. Love each other. We're all here, and Christmas isn't about the gifts in this world. It's about embracing each other and loving our families. So, to my family, Merry, Merry Christmas. Much love. Stay warm. And until next time, Parton's Heritage Homestead wishes you good cheers. Thank you.